A congressional committee in the US has just revoked RT America's accreditation on Capitol Hill. RT received the following letter informing the channel of the decision.
This decision essentially prevents us from doing our work on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Congressional hearings with both the Senate and the U.S. House of Representatives take place on Capitol Hill, and you're required to have accreditation to be able to attend those hearings and report on them and such. This will limit and essentially prevent us from attending those hearings and continuing to do our work. Now, this comes after RT America was pressured and basically forced to register under the U.S. Foreign Registrations Act, FARA. Now, after that happened, the State Department spokesperson, Heather Nauert, insists that we would be able to continue doing our jobs. We wouldn't really be affected. We would be able to continue functioning after we registered under this law. Take a listen to what she said.
When the United States tells someone to register under a foreign agent requirement, we don't impact or affect the ability of them to report news and information. We just have them register. It's as simple as that.
It does impact our ability. I've now received this letter informing me that I have to give up my credentials in order to operate on Capitol Hill. Now, the Foreign Agents Registration Act was first passed in 1938, and it was an attempt to combat the influence of propaganda coming from Nazi Germany. The law basically requires periodic disclosure of activities and the finances of those who have registered. It's mainly applied to lobbyists. Now, in the previous months, RT has been under quite a bit of pressure. YouTube has removed our premium ad service on YouTube. Google, which operates and controls YouTube, removed us of our premium status. Twitter has also outlawed and just prevented us from doing our advertising work. We've seen numerous hearings in Congress directly targeting RT, accusing us of different things. So a lot of pressure is being put on this network, and it looks like another step has been taken, making it harder for us to continue operating in the United States and doing our journalistic work, reporting on events in the United States.
And the channel's editor-in-chief, Margarita Siminyan, has given her reaction to the withdrawal of RT America's accreditation.
To all the self-righteous defenders of the freedom of speech who also ardently proclaimed on RT's journalistic work in the US, withdrawal of congressional credentials speaks much louder than empty platitudes.
I can bring in legal and media analyst Lionel now to discuss this in more detail. Good to see you again, Lionel. As we understand it, this ruling effectively means now RT reporters are banned from all briefings on Capitol Hill. What's your opinion of that?
Well, I'm holding in my hand. Sounds rather McCarthy-like, which is most interesting right now. It says that the rules of the galleries, this is from the Executive Committee of the Congressional Radio and TV Correspondence Galleries. The rules of the gallery state clearly that news credentials may not be issued to any applicant employed by any foreign government or representative thereof. And it says, in essence, by rule, the Executive Committee notified the Senate rules, and the withdrawal of RT Network's accreditation is effective immediately. So they want to withdraw news credentials of RT Network by unanimous vote. Now, here's the interesting aspect. From the State Department, and I read, Heather Nauert in October said, in effect, that under U.S. law, registration is simply triggered when an entity or an individual engages in political activity. When the United States tells someone to register as a foreign agent, it doesn't impact at all upon the ability of them to report news and information, just to have them register. It's as simple as that. Well, if it's as simple as that, why must you, according to this, return your credentials to the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms and be gone? Now, come on. You have got to be kidding. Does BBC get one of these? Does Al Jazeera or CCTV or whoever, I mean, do those individuals, and if they don't get one, why aren't they considered a foreign agent? Now think about this, and think about what this looks like. Think about what this looks like to the world. To the world. You know, they're always talking about, how does Donald Trump look like to the world? When he tweets, what does that look like to the world? Well, I, a proud member of my republic, I ask the question, how does this look like to the world? In the nation's capital, the bastion of free speech, the First Amendment, where scores, hundreds, thousands of people from every conceivable form of press that there is, they get a badge. But RT, oh no, they're a foreign agent. They're different. Be gone. Now, look, I understand this all started when Hillary Clinton lost the election. I understand that. And I understand that they needed a scapegoat. And I understand that they had to blame somebody. So Russia came along, right? That's terrific. But this has just gone on to the point where it's becoming absolutely ridiculous. And may I add one more thing? Do you know how many people now cannot wait to watch RT? Have you ever thought about this? With all due respect to this grand institution, but a couple of years ago, I had a hard time telling a lot of folks what RT was. Where is it? What was it? What does it stand for? Now, the question I'm asking is, how do I get it? Is it on my cable? Can I get it online? Because RT has been in the news in one way or another as this forbidden fruit, this outlaw, rogue news organization. And do you know what happens in this country when you tell Americans you can't do something? Remember when you were a kid and your parents said, don't listen to that music? Now it's the hottest ticket in town. So I don't understand, number one, the rationale behind this. But more importantly, does anybody not see, especially in the halls of Congress, that where we swear on the Constitution, where everybody's raising their hands always to the Constitution and the spirit of the Constitution, where leaders and folks and politicians mill about talking to reporters because of this freedom of the press. But RT, go away, stay away. You're not entitled. You're a foreign agent. I mean, it's tragic. It's tragic. And I hope that President Trump or Heather Nauert or somebody seeks to clarify this, because everybody merely wants to know the truth. And the last time I checked, that's kind of what we were all about.
Yeah, you talked about the freedom of speech in the US, which seems to be more robust than any other country in the world. I think you really can get away with a lot that even I sort of wonder sometimes, are you allowed to say too much in America? So the other great thing is you've got these organisations that protect freedom in the media. So should we be anticipating them to step forward now bravely to defend RT?
That is probably, in the history of questions, one of the greatest questions ever. You would think that our journalism schools, the Columbia School of Journalism and the Poynter Institute and all of these think tanks and all of these libertarian organizations, and in Washington, every other corner, there's the Cato Institute and the Heritage Foundation and this and that. You would think there would be marching in the street. What they do to the least of my brethren, they do unto me, to wax biblical for a moment. You would think that people from all walks of life, irrespective of whether they agree with whatever the editorial policy is of RT, you would think. And let me also just say, this is the irony. I have been in this business for 30 years next year, and I have been on every television program, talk radio, satellite radio, terrestrial radio, local TV, national TV, syndicated TV, you name it. And I am telling you right now, and I will swear on a stack of Bibles or whatever you want, that at no time Has anyone ever from RT ever asked me what I was going to say, what was my opinion, what was my point of view, or would you not say that? Would you lay off that? Do you know how many times that's happened when I've been on CNN, MSNBC, ABC, Fox? I talk to pre-producers. Does the public understand that? When you go on CNN, like I'm doing right now, I got out of the car, I walked in, I sit, I start talking to you. That's it. That's the pre-production. That was it. If I go on any other show, I have to go through producers, they're going to check things. There is more free speech here. There is more unfiltered, unfettered, unedited, unexpurgated, unfirewalled, free, expansive, and expressive speech on RT than anything I have ever seen. And the irony, the unmitigated, sick irony that RT receives this letter basically saying, turn in your badge. Mr. Foreign Agent, be gone. And also to hear somebody from the State Department say, oh, no, that's okay. Here's the left hand, here's the right hand, and neither of them know how to speak to each other. This is tragic, but in an ironic way, does more to bolster the viewership, the interest, the curiosity of RT than anything ever. No ad campaign, no billboards, nothing compares to how many times you are in this piece. May I say something very quickly? Today we have a story involving a fellow named Andy Lack. Andy Lack is the head of NBC. Did you know that when he was the chief of the board of broadcast governors, he compared ISIS and Boko Haram to RT? This was in 2015. I mean, there is no story about RT that is too preposterous. If I read out stories and I made up most of them and asked people, which of these is the fake RT news story, nobody would believe it. I mean, if nobody knew this, you would think this is this propaganda mill that just cranks out I don't know what. I mean, I don't want to make light out of it. If it wasn't so tragic, it would be tragic.
Lionel, as always, I appreciate your frank and very interesting views. And I'll just put it on record at this point, you know, Lionel, watch your back, because I wonder at what point they will come for you or for I. But that's a conversation for another day. Legal and media analyst Lionel, thank you.